What's going on, guys? Northeast RC back for another video. Finally got the Outcast 8S up here on the bench. We're going to tear into this rear gearbox and take a look and see what the heck's going on in here. Been hearing some crunching in there. I think I tossed another set of gears, and I think I know why. So we're going to jump down and we're going to take a look at this thing and pull it apart. All right, so I took the liberty of taking the wheelie bar off, the wheels off. I pulled the pins out of the sway bar so I could pop the sway bar off once I get this going. So what you're going to need for tools, I got laid out right here. You're going to need a screwdriver, a 3mm, a 4mm, and a 2.5mm. So we're going to pop out this 4mm. These 4 bolts are 3mm here. I popped this up out of the way to pull this cover off, bulkhead cover off with the sway bar, and the 2.5s hold this skid plate on. So we're going to get this all disassembled and see what the heck's going on inside this gearbox, because like I said, I've been having some serious problems with this, chewing gears. I just upgraded to the aluminum Diff housing in here, and now it seemed that this thing went even quicker. So I'm thinking the screws backed out, even though they were thread locked. I think I'm going to need to epoxy these in, but won't know till I pull it apart. And if there's nothing wrong in here, it's got to be the center diff. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull off this 4mm off the top of the bulkhead here, and then all my hardware. Get yourself one of these magnetic trays. Everything goes in this magnetic tray. Makes things a lot easier, believe me. All right, now we're going to pop up these turnbuckles quick. Pop these off. Take this one off. Just makes it easier to swing up the turnbuckle. Tie rod ends. So this way here, when you pull this off, the sway bar comes out. It's not hitting anything. So you pop this up like that, get it out of your way. Pop this side up. Be nice to have an elastic right there, but it doesn't matter. Now we're just going to pop up the sway bar up out of there. Pop up the sway bar out of this side. Okay. Now the sway bar is free, so once we get this popped, we can pull it off. So now we're going to take the 4 screws off the bulkhead here. So now we'll take these screws, put them in our tray. We're going to change bits again. Get our 2.5. Take these 2 out of the skid plate. There's 1. There's 2. Also, get yourself a good screw gun with torque settings. This Milwaukee has torque settings, so makes things a lot nicer. So you could torque screws down and get the proper torque on them. Those 2 screws go there. Now it's time to get your screwdriver and pop this bulkhead free. I like to give it a little grab on each side, right where the diff cup is. Get in there and then just start prying at it, and it'll just pop free. Now once I got this freed up, just get it out of your way. Got plenty of grease on there from when I just did this, because like I said, I bought the aluminum diff case here. Now that I got it open, we're going to take a look at it and see what the heck's going on. Get our drive shafts out of the way. We could just lift this diff right up and out. All right, so I'm going to pop this out and take a look at it quick. My shims are in there. Everything is nice and good. Okay. All right, so I took the diff out, took a look at it. This ring gear is fine. The pinion gear is fine inside. So what I'm going to do next is see if these screws are loose. Nope. These are tight. So whatever grinding I heard isn't in this rear end, which I'm kind of happy, because I just changed all this and put this aluminum diff cup in here so I could thread lock it and have everything nice. So that's a good sign. Now I just need to put my shim back in there, which was on this side. So that's a relief. So it could be the center diff that's actually being chewed up, which I do need to get in there anyway, because I want to put, I want to air plug the center diff anyway. So there's 2 shims here on this side. I need to get this back in place. Okay. So there's no side-to-side movement. I shimmed that when I put it in originally, so that's in there correct. So we're going to get this buttoned up back together, and then the next thing we're going to have to do, not in this video, I'm going to leave this set up because I'll probably do it maybe tomorrow. I'll put this all back together now, and then I'll take this, get it over here on the bench, and pull the center diff out of this and see if the center diff is compromised. So in the meantime, we're going to put this thing back together. All right, so first things first, we're going to get this cover back on. I'm not going to add any extra grease in this, so I'm going to shimmy this back into place, get the sway bar where it needs to be, and then we're just going to pop this cover back in. You know, I'm happy, guys, that I didn't blow this rear diff out again, but now I have another problem somewhere else that I got to find. That's the tricky part. So let's get this back in. This has to go behind this skid plate right here, which is a little tricky. Get this in there and seat it down. There we go. Give it a little push with the screwdriver, and that's in place. So we're going to work this in reverse now. We're going to grab the 2.5 millimeters. Put these back in on the skid plate. I got this set on 8 for the torque, and you'll hear it. See that? Yeah, and you'll know how much is too much and what's not enough. Most screws are 8 or 9 I use for a torque setting. Now we'll get our 3 millimeter. Get our 4 screws for the bulkhead. Let's get these put back in place. Again, I'm really happy that I didn't blow this differential up, but I'm thinking now it's got to be that center diff. So we'll pull that out next, but at least I know the rear is good. And I got 500,000 weight diff oil in the rear. Like I said, I want to air plug the center anyway, so got to take that out to do it. So we'll check it out, make sure everything's cool there. But the whole reason I had trouble with this rear is the stock one. I mean, I run the Proland Badland MXs. They're a pretty heavy tire on this, and I'm running the Max 5 with the 800 kV motor. There's a lot of power being thrown to this, so I was blowing rear diffs on it. So I did upgrade it to the aluminum, thread locked everything, and as we just saw, it's all good now. Snap a lot of these drive shaft pins, but I pressed new ones in, so I'm not worried with that. But I'm thinking now it's that center diff. I need to air plug that, so we're gonna pull that apart at some point this week. Okay, that's done. Now we're gonna seat the sway bar in here. Okay. Take the pin for the sway bar, which this is 2.5, I believe. Yep. Take our 2.5 screwdriver and just find where this is and send it in. That's what she said. Okay. Now our drive shafts are in. We'll put our turnbuckles back on. 3 millimeter. So we'll grab our 3 millimeter. Got our turnbuckle in there. Lock that down. Get our other turnbuckle in there. Grab the other 3 millimeter. Run that down in there. Okay, what's left for screws now? We got to put our wheelie bar back on. But that I'm not going to do now because I'm still going to pull this all apart, so we'll leave the wheelie bar off. This is all back together now. Sway bars in there, all the screws are in, everything. Shims are back in the diff, everything's good there, so we're good on that. Okay guys, as you saw, the rear diff held up, which I'm happy about. All the upgrades I did in the rear diff with the aluminum housing, the new gears, they all held up fine. So that just means the problem is further up the drivetrain. That means it's either in the center diff or the front diff, which is okay. I need to pull that center diff out and air plug it, and I also need to pull the front out and put 500 to match the rear. So I'll do that later on this week. I'll definitely get another video out to you guys, let you guys know how I made out on this problem here and this grinding noise that sounds like the spider gear is getting chewed up when I was blowing the rear diff. But again, we'll get to it. Once I get the center out and the front, I'll see if I can find the problem. All right, guys, that's about it for this video. Drop some comments down below, and remember, keep building and bashing.